Welcome, my friends. Let's get to witching today, shall we? What's going to be on our plates? We have wood betony, we have white oak, and we have cedar leaf. So let's get your conjure on. Let's get started, and let's have some fun, shall we? Okay, so a little bit about the history of these plants, which is something I want to get into a little bit more as we go along and work with these ingredients, okay? Wood betony has been one of the primary ingredients that the Anglo-Saxons loved, right? There was a lot of things that you could do with it. But with magic, you can use it for protection against evil, you can use it for reconciliation of lovers, family members. It shields against bad visions and dreams. Like there was a line that I was reading in a bunch of the different websites that I was searching for, just to see what was available. So if you start digging into wood betony, that the easy things that they're going to come up with is that it protects both the body and the soul of the individual, right? Or it can be used for that. And so we're also going to be using cedar, which is the grandmother tree, according to some traditions. So with that, that was also the wood of choice for building Solomon's temple. So it summons a lot of spirits. It deals with spirits. It's not as intense as the yew tree, but it does basically allow the spirits to stay within that space that they are drawn into. And with white oak, that's going to be the king of the grove, right? That's going to be fertility. That's going to be fertility for projects that you're doing, for ideas, for strength, for potency. And that one's the masculine tree. So we have the grandmother tree, the father king of the forest, and we have the thing that'll protect the spirits in their transits against, and you can use this to protect against bad dreams, bad visions, that sort of thing. But you can also do something called herbomancy, right? Where you're scrying by way of incense smoke. So you can see which way the incense smoke is going, how much is there, what's happening with it. That way what you get up to is not only do you get to see what your spells are doing if they're on fire, but you get to see that how it comes together is, manifest. So we're going to start with white oak as our base. Why are we doing this? Because we want blessings from the king of the grove, right? You talk to the king and you get passage. And then, of course, the cedar. So that way what we get to do... Now, this is incense cedar. And I get this from a couple of really nice sources. Unfortunately, those sources are not cheap when it comes to these ingredients. So, and then we've got our wood betony. And so if you change up the order of it, you'll get a different effect. But with this, the goal is that we're using the both masculine and the feminine to balance with our visions, to balance with what we're doing for the spirits. So when we're summoning up the spirits, or when we're working in a protective case, right? Or if we're doing reconciliation work between lovers, right? Like that's a big one. People want to have their male friends or their female friends reconciled with the lovers that they have, so that way what ends up happening is they don't go fighting like cats and dogs with each other, right? And that's a big deal, because lovers that are not faithful are sad. And I bring this up, it's interesting, and I will make one comment on it for the individuals that are seeing the fellow that's putting up hate comments on my videos, right? There was a lady in India who I did work for, and she wanted the husband she had to die, and she wanted to go running off with her boyfriend as a means by which she could get what she wanted, but she was in an arranged marriage because of her family, because of her situation. And so it's like I tried to help her. So I conjured up a spirit, same way I did for Guy. And the results that Guy gets are fantastic. The results that this lady got was a big fat fucking goose egg, because that's not what those spirits wanted her to do. So the methods was the same, the results completely different. For some people, it works in their favor. For others, they wanted violence, they wanted death, they wanted pain, they wanted suffering, and so no. Spirits said no, they did not allow that. And so it's like, that's not something I can control. When we pass these ingredients off, right? When we light the fires, when we make the petitions, when we do all of the things that we're supposed to do as magicians or occultists, and invite the favor of heaven, or invite the spirits of the earth to help us sort out the problems that we don't otherwise have, right? That it's not up to us. It's not up to us as living individuals what it is we get up to, right? And the goal is reconciliation. The goal is to have a new life, is to sever the cords for those things which are negative for us, those things which are abusive and horrible, that we are trying to find and we are trying to open up, so that way what we get is a reconciliation, right? But even this spell, like, it smells amazing, but it's only going to be used for people that are going to be in a situation where they need reconciliation, right? So, but this is calling upon the spirit trees of the forest, right? Well, how did the spirit trees become the spirit trees? Well, in that case, then you're looking at back in the day when people would bury people by the tree, or would go into the next life, right? They would move from being a living human body and into animal life or natural life. You bury a person by the base of a tree which they were most attuned to, right? So that becomes the behavior of a tree as itself in its way, right? It's that person, that tree, their spirit moves into the tree. Their spirit gets to be part of the greater family of the forest. So it becomes an ancestral forest, not just one tree. So you're literally calling on the spirits of that tree. You're literally calling on the spirits of your ancestors in the form of that tree to lend their spirit, to lend their aid, right? So you have the grandmother tree, you have the grandfather tree, or the king tree, right? So it's from the leader, the feminine, and then you have the outcome, right? In this case, reconciliation. In this case, protection of the spirits. So for this, it's the best way that I could describe this spell when you use it, or when it's going to be used, would be that you have something that needs to be fixed. You have something that needs to be curated, cultivated, worked with, right? Well, this will open up the path by which you can do that. You know, because oak is a great pathway to other worlds. It connects you not only to the oak of this world, but the oak of other worlds, right? And so you can use it accordingly, and you can use your ingredients accordingly, and call upon the spirits of nature, call upon the spirits of the lost, call upon the spirits of your ancestors with something like this. So a little bit of this in the coals, and you have something that can be more than just yourself, more than just your family, more than just the situation that you find yourself in, and you can reconcile that along a longer timeline. So, you know, it's, if you're looking to create a boundary spell, protection wards, things like that, you can use this and mix this into your ink. For any of you pregnancy people, like, don't use this if you're preggers. Don't, okay? Don't take these things internally. Don't do that. I've warned you against that. Don't do it. If you do it, it's your damn fault. But this would be great as a protective powder. Like, you could mix this in with your cleaning soap. So if you're going to wash your front door, you could use this to keep and ward your place against hexes, malevolent magic. You can use this as ink to draw protection talismans that you hang around and refresh every season, every quarter, what have you. So there are safe ways to interact with these plants without setting them on fire. But you could also use it for herbomancy, or the scrying via incense, right? So just be aware that when you do that, you're calling upon masculine spirits, but you're also calling upon really old ones, right? You're calling upon the old forest, you're calling upon the ancient trees, you're calling upon the ancient ancestors that know things from a time when their behavior was very much different than ours today. So when you are working with things that have the different behaviors and what we experience today, you need to be careful of that. You need to be careful and aware that when you invite that energy in, if you're not matching pace with it, it can fuck you up. It can fuck up your family. It can fuck up your friends, all that sort of stuff. So when you use something like this and you don't necessarily know what it is you want to do with it and you just start going to town, it's going to do what it's going to do, and it's going to do it regardless of what you want, right? So be careful of that. So that's why it's good to go into these things with intent. So this would be the ingredients for protective ink. So you make your talismans, you make your boundaries with it, you make your spells with it. You basically use this as a means to build your version of Solomon's Temple as the protective spaces. So with that, my friends, I'm going to say I will see you tomorrow for our day 2 of week number 3. So be safe, my friends, and happy conjuring, all right? Bye for now.